filming, Kyle.
Okay. One morning, a little Taylor sat in his shop. He bent over his work, sewing as he was always did this time of day. Suddenly,
Suddenly,
the
Taylor
had a tasty for
raspberry.
raspberry jelly. He took out a loaf of bread and cut a big slice from it. The tailor licked his lips and spread on the some jelly. I am more hungry than I thought, he told himself. I sure hope the jelly fills my belly and clears my head. The tailor wanted to sew a new more stick before.
No, go back. The tailor wanted
to sew a few more
stitches
before eating his snack. He when
take
he
your time.
finished
Take your time, okay.
when he finished he sewed a swarm of field
not fields. What is that?
Fly buzzing around his tasty jelly. The little man waved his flies away and with his hand, but they flew right back.
Right.
The tailor grabbed a scrap of cloth and
growl.
I'll
No.
let
No, look at
now I'll let you have it. The
cloth
burst
first.
through the air as the tailor beat at the buzzing flies.
Yeah. Now take your time. You're reading too fast. Now look at the words and read. Okay. Put your hand underneath this so you can follow. Okay.
When he left the cloth away, 7 flies lay dead on the table. The whole world should know of my skill, said the tailor. He cut a
belt
just his size with his finest
thread.
He sewed those words 7 in one blow.
Right.
The tailor tried the red belt around his waist. I feel the need for a big adventure, he shouted.
Right.
The tailor looked for something useful to take with him on his big adventure. All he found was an old piece of cheese. He put it in his pocket and he was locking the door. He heard a rustle in the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
A bird was trapping in the.
Oh, wait, slow down, and go back.
A bird was trapped among the thorns. The tailor
The tailor
gently pulled the bird from the bushes. He put it in his pocket with the cheese. Then he set off to find adventure. The tailor walked through town and up the side of the mountain. At the top, he met a giant. Hello, giant, said Taylor. The tailor was a bow. I'm on a big adventure. Will you join me?
Yeah, okay. Now slow down just a little bit. You're reading a little bit too fast. Slow down just a little bit, all right?
A little man like you on a big adventure, rumbled the giant. More answers.
What's the word?
For an answer, the tailor showed the giant his belt. The giant read the word 7 in one blow.
7
blow.
in one blow.
The giant who was no very smart thought that
No, repeat that again. Say it again.
the giant who was not very smart
Right.
thought that the belt means 7 men. Not
Flies.
flies. He felt it's very hard to believe that this tiny tailor could kill 7 men with one blow. So he
Decided.
decided to test the man's
Strength.
You must be very strong. Can you do this? Asked the giant. He picked up a stone and sneezed until
He picked up a stone and what?
He
Squeezed.
squeezed it until water dripped from the stone. The tailor was obviously not as strong as the giant, but he was much more clever. Watch this little tailor. The little tailor said as he took something from his pocket. The giant thought it was a stone too,
Okay.
but it wasn't as.
But it was actually.
The piece of cheese. The tailor sneezed it.
The tailor squeezed.
Squeezed it his hand until little bit dripped from his
Palm. Now read this again.
His
The,
palm.
no, read that word. The tailor.
The tailor squeezed it in his hand until liquid
Whey
dripped from his palm.
No, what?
Plum.
Palm.
Palm.
Palm of your hand. All right.
The giant raised his elbow.
No.
Brows.
He raises what?
Eyebrow.
No, what's that word?
Elbow.
What's that word?
Eyebrows.
Okay, right.
Well, can you do this? He asked. He picked up another stone, and tossed it high into the air. He felt almost.
It flew.
It flew almost out of sight. Watch this, the tailor said as he took something from his pocket. It was a bird. A bird.
Of course.
Of course. When he tossed.
No.
When he
look at the word. Look at the word and read it, Kyle.
With a toss of his hand, the tailor set the little bird fly. Pretty soon, the bird was out of sight. In fact, he never came down. It never came down.
Yeah, take your time. You're reading too fast.
This did not convince the giant. Thought he was a poor loser. If you are so strong, help me carry this tree, the giant ordered.
Right.
Once again, the tailor knew he was not as strong as the giant. He quickly came up with an idea. The tailor walked to the leafy end of the fallen oak. I will carry the bushes. Branches.
Okay.
He said, I wouldn't want them to scratch you. Besides, it is no trouble for one who can kill 7 at one blow.
Right. Okay.
The giant left the tree.
Giant.
The giant lift the tree trunks until he hit shoulders.
No. Okay. Stop. Go back and read this slowly again.
The giant lifted the tree trunk into his shoulder.
Right. Okay.
He could not see the tailor at the other end. The tailor knew this. He hoped and he hopped into the branch and left the giant do all the walk working. When the giant
say it again now.
He hopped into the branch and let the giant do all the work.
Right.
When the giant stopped to rest, the tailor jumped out and pretended to be carried and lifting
The leafy
end of the tree. When the giant looked back at the tailor, he saw that he was not even he was not even trying.
No, what's the word? Tired.
Tired.
Okay. Perhaps.
Perhaps you would like to come home with me and meet my friend, the giant said with an evil gleam in his eye.
Certainly.
Certainly, the clever tailor replied. The giant took the tailor to his cave. A group of giants sat around a roaring fire.
Say roaring. Say roaring.
Roaring fire. They watched as their friend led the little man to the cave. You can't see Peter, said the giant, pointing to the giant sized bed. Even a man who can kill 7 in one blow needs to rest.
Okay.
There's a lot of giants.
Yeah.
The tailor who was not
No, say it. Slow down.
The tailor was not used to sleeping in such as a big bed.
Mm-hmm.
So he slept in the corner instead. It was good for him that he did. During the night, the giant
Pounded.
on the bed with clubs until they thought they had taken care of the pesky tailor.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, the giants went swimming in the river. They joked about the strange man and his silly belt. When the tailor woke up whistling a merry tune, the giants were so afraid they ran away without their clothes. The tailor
What is it called? The tailor?
The tailor laughed and left the giants behind. He walked very far, and they lay down for a nap. As the tailor slept, some people found him and read his belt.
And what?
Read his belt. They thought he was my shoulder.
Start over again.
They thought he was mighty soldier and took him to meet their king. The king was impressed and hired him for his army. He also gave him a bag full of gold. But the other soldiers were angry at the new soldier. This is not fair, they told the king. We will leave your army if we don't get a bag full of gold too. The king should not lose his whole army. He described to get.
Go back.
He decided to get rid of his new soldier. He went to the little man with a challenge. I need you to kill 2 giants. Giants that live in my woods. If you do, I will give my daughter a half of my kingdom as a reward. The tailor knew this was a chance to become a hero. The next morning, the tailor rode off to find the giant with 100 soldiers behind him and a brilliant plan. Stand by until I call you. Stay behind until I call you, he told the soldier at the end of the woods.
At the
edge of the woods. The tailor found the 2 giants asleep under the tree. He climbed the tree and began to drop acorn on the giant's head. The giant awoken, awoke, and turned to his friend. His friend. Why did you wake me from by thumping my head? Roared the giant. Before the friend could answer, the angry giant threw an acorn at him. The two giants fought each other until both fell dead. The tailor called the king's soldiers to see what he had done. They were amazed. The new soldier had not even a scratch. 2 giants are easy. Try 7 in one blow, said the tailor. The king heard about the tailor's great feat, but didn't want to give up his daughter and have his riches yet. And he ordered him to catch a unicorn that was scaring the villagers. The tailor agreed to go, but only he could go alone.
But only if.
Only if he go alone. The king agreed, so off the woods the tailor went looking for the unicorn. Suddenly the tailor turned to see a unicorn running straight from him. He stopped perfectly still. He stood perfectly still. Just as the unicorn reached him, the tailor jumped out of the way. And he had been standing in front of the tree. The unicorn horn stuck fast into the tree hardwood. The tailor freed the unicorn and rolled it back to the palace. In a cloud of dust. A cloud of dust. Again, the king was amazed to see the tailor.
Wait, Cal, be still while you read, Cal.
The king had no choice but to keep his promise. He cannot prove the man he was married. He married.
No, slow down. Read it again.
He could not prove that the man who married his daughter and took half of his kingdom was nothing but a hero. The tailor almost gave up his secret one night. Though while he was asleep, he knew.
Say it again. Stop, wait. Take a deep breath.
While he was asleep, his new wife heard him smile, him say, "This new
fabric
will make a fine waistcoat." The prince leaped out of bed, and his behind a curtain, hoping her husband.
No, what's that word? Husband
would
reveal
more of his true details.
No, identity.
But the clever tailor, wakened by his wife, moving quickly, realized that he had said in his sleep, "I mean, a prince and man who can kill 7 one blow can have the finished."
What should? Now start again. Start right here, Kyle.
I mean, a prince and a man who can kill 7 with one blow should have the finest waistcoat around right. That's what we never knew. The tailor was not big or strong, but he was clever, very clever. The little tailor used his wits to defeat the giant and win the hand of the princess. When he knew that the giants were very smart and could be easily fooled, he used his brain again to capture the unicorn for the king. He proved that you don't have to be a giant to be a giant-sized hero. Sometimes a small person will surprise you with a big heart or a big idea. Have you ever thought you know what
Have you ever what?
Have you ever thought you knew what a person was like? And knew
And
then they did something completely
unexpected.
Have you ever used your own identity ingenuities when up against a bully?
All right. Now, look at the camera and tell them what you learned from this story.
I learned from this
Sit up.
I learned from the story that you.
Tell the camera.
I learned from the story that you don't have to be a giant to be a hero.
Okay. All right. Now, also, I want you to start reading a little bit slowly. Okay. Next time.
Next
all right.
one is the city mouse and the country. That's the next story I read. See you next time on Caillou's Reading Show. Okay, here it is. Cat.